Hi, this is Dr. Nancy Robert. Thank you for joining me today on Learning How to Learn. Today I'd like to talk about brain functions, specifically the focused and diffuse modes of thinking, how neural connections impact our motivation, and the impact of sleep on our ability to learn. At the end of this segment, I hope you too will have better tips and tricks on how to improve your learning. So why is it important for us to learn how to learn more efficiently? Today, it is estimated that 90% of data in the world has been created in the last 2 years alone. The Domo report, Data Never Sleeps, reports some astounding figures about the volume of new information. Netflix streams 69,000 hours of new video per minute. We're tweeting 456,000 tweets. YouTube users are watching over 4 billion videos per minute. Google is conducting over 3.6 billion searches per minute with 3.7 billion estimated internet users. So we have to ask ourselves, with so much access to information, how do we best take in new information and process it in a way that's meaningful for us and our learning? So what have we learned about learning? Well, first, learning takes time. Cramming, jamming, and overnighters just don't cut it. It's impossible to establish deep learning using those methods. Second, your brain processes information using two thinking modes, focused and diffuse. And your brain goes back and forth between those two thinking modes, establishing neural pathways that have been formed over time and by the use of repetition. And lastly, in order to build effective neural pathways, you need to work on new information each day. Establishing routines where you can look at information in small chunks are what help you to have deep learning. Now let's take a moment and reflect upon the key concepts that we just discussed. Our focused mode is concentrated thinking. It has one goal: zoom in on the information or problem at hand and try to solve it. Being in the focused mode is like driving your car down the highway. You follow the signs diligently, hoping not to get sidetracked or make an error. The wandering mind. That's diffuse thinking. It's a place where our mind is relaxed and we give ourselves permission to just wander among ideas, new thoughts, new ways of looking at things. Both the diffuse mode and the focus mode are extremely important in our learning. It's just a matter of how you approach a problem. So how can you release your wandering mind? Well, one way may be through the use of meditation. Some people find that helpful to get into a different space and let their mind wander. Another way is exercise. People frequently experience aha moments as they're running, not thinking about anything particular at all. Another way is during sleep. If you make a list of items that you're concerned about before you go to bed, it kind of puts it into your unconscious memory and your mind contemplates it while you're asleep. And when you wake up, sometimes people find they have that aha moment. The average human brain weighs about 3 pounds, has 100 billion neurons, with each neuron having anywhere from 1,000 to 10,000 synapses associated with it. These form neural pathways that allow us to store information. Take a moment and see if you can match the definitions on the right-hand side with the brain diagram on the left-hand side. The dopamine neural pathway impacts sensory inputs and decision making. It is believed to be involved in motivation and addiction due to feelings of reward and pleasure. According to BBC Radio's series All in the Mind, Neurons that produce dopamine act as the signal in the reward system and play a complex role in behavioral responses to rewarding stimuli. Real-time imaging studies have supported the role of dopamine surges in learning and motivation through incentive rewards and the feeling of pleasure. Serotonin levels are frequently associated with our social life, and it's often referred to as the mood chemical pathway. Low serotonin levels frequently are associated with depression, and high serotonin levels are associated with risk-taking behavior. There are some natural ways in which you can elevate your serotonin levels, and those include mood induction or psychotherapy, and the goal is to generate positive thoughts while reducing someone's anxiety. Another way might be through light therapy. With seasonal affective disorder, this therapy has been effective in raising serotonin levels. Also exercise. Exercise they call the wonder drug because it also has an impact on serotonin levels. Diet. It is thought that foods with tryptophan are associated with increased serotonin levels. So try foods such as turkey, fish, lentils, beans, cheese, and eggs. Those are all high serotonin level foods that have been associated with increased serotonin levels. Scientific studies with animals have shown that while in the rest state, the brain is washing away toxins that accumulate in our brain during the day. Sleep is an essential ingredient in terms of learning and having the memory capacity to learn new things. Ethan Green, founder of No Sleepless Nights, suggests some bedtime routines that might help us all to get better sleep. First of all, he suggests that about 30 to 60 minutes before your regularly scheduled bedtime, that you start to prepare to calm your mind. You start to brush aside, take away things that would be distracting or increase your mental processing. For instance, things that you're worried about. He suggests that you write them down. Write them down on a notepad and put them at your bedside. That does two things. That takes it off of your mind, thus reducing your anxiety, as well as gives your brain time to use that information unconsciously while you are asleep. And sometimes you find yourself in the morning waking up with that aha moment. Another thing he suggests is turning off all electronic devices and instead read. Reading is a place where you can find a comfortable space, read something that is calming and not disruptive. You are preparing yourself to enjoy preparing for your sleep. He recommends do not read in bed if at all possible because you want your mind to associate the bed with sleep, not the bed with an activity. Thank you for joining me in learning how to learn. I hope you found something useful to help you overcome your unique learning challenges. But remember, you too can overcome memory blocks. I wish you the best as you approach learning in a new and exciting way.